So hello ladies and gentlemen, just as we have seen the last time, what were the rules of transforming from the active to the passive voice, of transforming a sentence from the active to the passive voice. Today, in the present simple, today we're going to see how to transform a sentence, or what are the rules of transforming a sentence from the active to the passive voice in the present continuous and in the past simple. So first, the main difference between the present continuous and the present simple is that the present simple is usually used to talk about either general truth, يعني لما نتكلم عن حقائق بصفة عامة, like for example, the earth is round, يعني الأرض شكلها دائري. This is a general truth, يعني هذه حقيقة عامة لا تتغير. We can use the present simple here. Or when we talk about, أو لما نتكلم, or when we talk about things that we do in the present but we usually do, like for example, I go to work, or I go home, or I visit my grandma's, or something like this. When we talk about activities that we usually do, or often do, or do in the present. But when we precise that we are doing something in the moments where we are talking, when we want to precise that this event is happening right now, there we can use the present continuous. For example, when you say I'm eating my breakfast. So for example, if we compare between the two sentences, I eat my breakfast and I'm eating my breakfast, when we say I eat my breakfast, here it can mean that we are talking about the present. It can refer to the present, but it can also mean that I usually eat my breakfast. But when we want to precise, when we want to be more precise about it, and when we want to precise that right now, in the moment that I'm speaking, I'm eating my breakfast, يعني هنا نستعمل the present continuous لما نريد أن نؤكد على أن الحادث أو الحادثة تقع الآن بينما أنا أتكلم. هنا نستعمل the present continuous. ولكن لما نريد أن نتكلم عن أحداث تحدث بصفة عامة أو نتكلم عن الحاضر بصفة عامة, يمكن أن نستعمل the present simple. So the form of the present continuous is the verb to be plus the main verb in the infinitive plus ing, and the verb to be that is in the beginning will follow the pronoun. So if it is I, it will be I am. If it is you, it will be you are. If it is he or she, it will be she is, or he is. So if in the present simple we say I work, in the present continuous we say I am working with ing at the end. So now we will talk about how it is transformed, how the present continuous is transformed in from the active to the passive voice. We have said the last time, and the same rule applies here, we have said the last time that in order to transform from the active to the passive voice, in the active voice, whether it is the present continuous or the present simple or the past simple, in all tenses, the rules remains the same while when we transform a sentence from the active to the passive voice. In the active voice, it is subject plus the verb plus the object, and in the passive form we start with the object and then we use the verb to be. We use the verb to be in the same form that is in or that the verb is in the active voice. If the verb in the active voice is in the present simple, then the verb to be in the passive voice will be in the present simple. If the main verb in the active form is in the present continuous, then the verb to be in the passive voice will be also in the present continuous. So this is why when we transform a sentence from the active voice to the passive voice in the present continuous, we will have in the passive voice the object plus is being, this is the verb to be, in the form of the present continuous, is being plus the past participle. So it will be a sentence like the teacher is asking a question will become the question is being asked by the teacher. So just as we have said, in general, transforming a sentence from the active to the passive voice, the rule is simple. In the passive voice, we start with the object, and then we use the verb to be, and then we use the past participle of the main verb, and then we add by, and then the subject. And that verb to be in the passive voice is in the same tense as the main verb in the active form. This is why if the main verb in the active form is in the present simple, the transformation from the active to the passive voice will be object plus the verb to be in the present simple plus past participle plus by the subject. And if the main verb in the active voice is in the present continuous, the transformation of the sentence into the passive voice will be the object plus is being plus past participle plus by the subject. And as the example you can see here, that if the active voice, or if the sentence in the active voice is the teacher is asking a question, its transformation into the passive voice will be a question, or the question is being asked by the teacher.